Hi, this is Charles, bass player for Final Gravity, and this is my playlist for the week of February 23rd to March 1st, 2026. The first album I listened to was The Codex, their album The Codex that was released in 2007. I listened to this album because I'm a fan of singer Mark Bowles, who has sung previously with Yngwie Malmsteen, Ring of Fire, Seven the Hard Way, the Dio Disciples, and Soul Sign, amongst many, many others. The other members, guitar, bass, and drums, are all journeyman veterans of innumerable projects, most flying under the radar of all but the most devout of Euro metal pilgrims. Everyone's playing is exemplary, and it's clear that a lot of time and effort was put into all the rhythms and the arrangements. But it's in the service of songs that just don't rise above the lower energy end of power and metal. But then, suddenly a dexterous, well-played guitar solo will pop up, and you think, maybe this could be something special, but then it just all winds up being predictable and not memorable, despite all the players here giving it their best efforts. The best songs of a pretty mediocre batch are Toxic Kiss and Mistress of Death. The next album I listened to was by the band Scar Symmetry, the album Holographic Universe from 2008. I listened to Scar Symmetry initially because of the presence of Pierre Nilsson, who had been in Meshuggah, and I was curious to see what else he had done. I had read some reviews of this band, and it sounded like something I might like. Another progressive death metal band here, alternating between fairly approachable metal, topped off with the occasional Cookie Monster death vocals, and then gloriously melodic choruses with sparkling, squeaky clean singing. Guitar solos do exist in this holographic universe, courtesy of Per Nilsson and Thomas Kjellgren, and they are like sharp stabbing lasers that cut through the wall of sound with precision. Cool, unusual melodic ideas abound in tracks like Time Wave Zero and Quantum Leaper. Double-time drumming propels sections of other cuts like The Missing Coordinates, which has a fun triplet time section, Fear Catalyst, which has the most delightfully wimpy vocal section, and guitar chord voicings akin to Queensryche on their Operation Mindcrime album can be found in the intro to Morphogenesis. Fear Factory-style rhythms are present in Prism and Gate, Ghost Prototype 2, Du Ex Machina, and the title track. The prog part of progressive death metal is most obvious in Three-Dimensional Shadow, and the brief Alex Lifeson-like clean chords in Ghost Prototype 2. But despite all the effort here and the excellent execution, it just didn't land right for me. It seems like the music isn't fully committed to any specific genre, and doesn't have a specific goal in mind, so as a result it just seems sort of cartoonish and lacking in a sharp approach. It was a short week. I only listened to 3 albums, and the last one was Between the Buried and Me, The Great Misdirect from 2009. One thing you may have picked up from my thoughts on music is that I love hybridizing, mashing genres up and seeing what happens. This explains my interest in Between the Buried and Me, despite my not liking some aspects of their sound. This is their 5th album, and it opens with the song Mirrors, which features a gentle, mellow vibe with some fleetingly disquieting notes sprinkled throughout its sub-4-minute runtime. Was the intent to lull you into complacency before metalcore vocals over Dream Theater riffing of track 2, Obfuscation? Maybe. That song hits much harder, with unquestionably accomplished composition, arrangement, and playing. But there's not much gentle or mellow about it, well, until the 2.5-minute mark. Briefly, before thrash tempos bulldoze into your ears. A section of 5/4 time pops up, and the vibes keep changing up as the song heads to its conclusion, past the 9-minute mark, presenting as the musical equivalent of ADHD. The variety continues with the band's metalcore, prog metal, and restrained, peaceful inclinations butting heads over and over and over. You get bass solos, you get crazy drum fills, you get guitar gymnastics, unexpectedly melodic passages, metalized takes on silent film era piano soundtracks, and the piece de resistance, the closing track, Swim to the Moon, a nearly 18-minute monster that touches on 1980s King Crimson, hardcore moshing punk, what seems to be a reference to the closing chords of Rush's Cygnus X1, and seems determined to out Dream Theater with complexity and the sheer number of parts and sections. Props must go to the producer, engineer, mixer Jamie King, who has also worked with Soften the Glare, The Contortionist, Scale the Summit, and Flotsam and Jetsam, among many others. He keeps things as close to comprehensible as possible in this maelstrom while providing a clean, clear, balanced, natural-sounding mix. This band is not for everyone, it may not even be for me, but I absolutely admire their dedication to not being pigeonholed. That was everything I listened to last week. Why don't you leave us a note in the comments below and tell us what you listened to? Make sure to follow us, like the video, subscribe if you're seeing this on YouTube, and I'll see y'all next week. And here is the t-shirt of the week.